Epic Fails in Dragon Tales by Stephen Lake. Disclaimer: Magefall is a work of parody. Any references to real-world people, places, products, companies, or events are intended for parody, cultural commentary, or historical reference only. All trademarks, copyrights, and other intellectual property are the sole property of their respective owners. The author claims no ownership over any such rights, and any similarities to actual entities is purely coincidental. An intro to Magefall. Welcome, player. What is Magefall, you might ask? It is a fully immersive, virtual reality, massive multiplayer online role-playing game, or FIVR MMORPG for short. In this world, you can become literally anything you want or could ever dream of. To comprehend the full depth and scope of what Magefall is, allow me to introduce you to what this system is. Magefall isn't a game, but rather the very foundation upon which thousands of games, all hailing from a multitude of different genres, live. But, unlike other platforms, the worlds within Magefall are interconnected, allowing you to share stats, levels, items, armor, weapons, and more across every game, as much as each one allows. This means that you could be a brave paladin in a science fiction, first-person shooter in the morning, a powerful mage in a wild western in the afternoon, and an astronaut in a fairy tale world in the evening. So, what will you become when you step into the world of Magefall? Join us and discover the endless possibilities, as there are no limits to what you can do, become, see, or explore in this expansive and exciting world. Kite's greeting. Hello, reader. You probably don't know me, as we've never met before, so allow me to introduce myself. My gaming username is KennyD26Fairlanes, but everyone around here just calls me Kite. That is the player tag that I play under. I've been a lifelong fan of Magefall ever since I was 16 years old, and have spent a large part of my life inside this game, making friends, meeting people, and just overall enjoying myself. So why do I spend so much time here? It's because Magefall is such a rich, beautiful, and colorful place to be. It's like being in the real world, only without all of the problems that come with that. Well, okay, even Magefall has its own unique list of problems. That's just a fact of life, because no matter where you go, you can't escape that. But compared to the dystopian nightmare that the real world is, Magefall is a slice of paradise. And I'm not the only one who feels that way. Billions upon billions of people from multiple systems across the galaxy come here every day to escape the real world like I do. But enough about real life. Let's talk about the entire galaxy's favorite MMO. For those of you who don't know, if you're reading this for the first time, the current year is 2360, and Magefall is a galaxy-wide phenomenon like no other. Founded over 2 centuries ago, it is a force of nature that never seems to end. And for all of you gamers out there, galaxy-wide, that's something to be proud of. So what makes Magefall so special? The answer to that might surprise you. Back when it was first created, the vision of its original developers was to make a common platform, much like an operating system, on which countless other games could not only run, but also interact with each other, share items, spaces, characters, stats, and more. That's what Magefall is. It's the core on which everything lives, interacts, and so much more. Games that are available in the Magefall universe are designed to bolt onto the parent system, the aforementioned Magefall, and operate as one small part of a much greater whole. Out of the many thousands of games that are available here, my 2 favorite among them are Galaxy of Empires and Lands of Magic. These 2 are by far the best and most popular of all in the entire gaming ecosphere. Galaxy of Empires is a top-rated and greatly beloved sci-fi adventure game enjoyed by billions of players from all over the galaxy who log in daily to enjoy its vast, sweeping universes and real-world game mechanics. This is done through the vast multitude of ships, planets, species, empires, and so much more that it offers. Lands of Magic, in turn, is the most popular, expansive, richest, and most exciting fantasy game in all of Magefall. To be honest, I probably spend far more of my time over there playing in that world than I do in Empires. But I'm okay with that. If truth be told, I think a lot of other players are guilty of the same. And that's not a bad thing, really, as it's an amazing game. Now, let's move on to the basic structure of Magefall. Because it's the parent platform for Empires, Lands, and many other games, it has a whole selection of its own starter cities, places for players to begin their time in Magefall, to relax, to meet others, get gear, sell loot, and so much more. These starter cities range from those meant for the very beginners among us, up to those who are of legendary or higher status. Magefall has starter cities for legendary class players, you might ask. Why, yes. Yes, it does. Even the most powerful players need somewhere they can retreat to where they can rest, recover, heal, and prepare that is completely safe from all danger, as well as tailored to their specific needs. I mean, when your player character is level 450, you're probably not going to be interested in armor with +1 damage protection. In the same way, newer, weaker, beginner, or similar players aren't going to have any use for armor with 10k damage absorption when their low rank prevents them from equipping it. Hence why there are so many different starter cities within Magefall, each one of which is tailored to and based upon your current player level. But that doesn't mean that higher level players can't go to starter cities for lower level players, and vice versa. In fact, it's quite the contrary. There's a lot of mixing of players within all of the cities, no matter what their rank is. Why is that, you might ask? Part of it is due to the very welcoming community culture of Magefall. And part of it is because the cities are safe places for everyone. Why? Because in Magefall proper, PKing is impossible in the starter cities. Got a legendary sword, and feel like brush-hogging a bunch of weak newbies for XP? Good luck with that. All you'll be doing is swinging at dead air, because the system won't allow you to PK anyone inside of any starter city. Now, once you step out into one of the attached games, or the lands outside of the city zones, that protection goes away. But while you're in the cities of Magefall proper, you're free to go about and do anything you want without fear of dying, being robbed, getting PK'd, or other nasty things. This, in turn, creates a very peaceful, enjoyable, and entertaining experience for everyone. In fact, some players come here just for the starter cities, but never actually play any of the games. That's just how wonderful this place is, such that even non-gamers feel safe and are welcomed here. Another thing that is so great about Magefall is that there's a strong tradition of mentoring that lives in this world. Players who are older, more experienced, higher level, and so on, often return to the lower starter cities and find teams who are in need of mentoring. This can include those who are brand new, all the way up to those who are highly experienced, with high levels, powerful weapons, armor, items, and more. Since everyone is always in search of ways to become better, everyone is thus welcome to participate in its native mentoring system. In Magefall, you don't have to be ashamed or worry about asking others for help, because almost everyone here is more than happy to do so. In Magefall, those who are mentors regularly help out and provide others with wise, experienced counsel to aid them in growing and eventually conquering numerous attached games that are part of this universe. Many of Magefall's mentors will even gladly volunteer to help struggling players to defeat difficult to conquer challenges, dungeons, or quests that they may be struggling with. It's also a way for the instructors to gain XP by helping others. This then provides a comfortable safety net for younger, lower level, and less experienced players to learn, grow, train, become stronger, and much more. Even I went through the mentoring process numerous times as a younger player and benefited greatly from it. And because of that, I regularly seek out teams, both those who are new and those who are seasoned, who need a good instructor for whatever reason, and take the time they need to grow in the same way that I did, in hopes that they too will not only become better, but also do the same for those who will eventually come in behind them. Also, mentorship is more than just a quick way to farm XP while helping others. It is considered an honored position within Magefall, and thus almost nobody is willing to soil its good reputation. Those few who do rarely ever remain here long, as they are usually run out of town or shamed off the platform if they do. The same is true of teams and players who are rude or just behave as an overall nuisance. And what the community doesn't personally deal with on their own, the admins will often step in and resolve it as needed. So the very nature of this world can be described as self-healing, for lack of a better term. And just like with any other living world, it's these natural processes that keep the place fun, exciting, and in some ways a bit too addictive. I mean, for a game system like this to survive for over 200 years, clearly someone, somewhere, is doing things right. That now brings me to my next subject. You remember me telling you about the mentor system? Well, allow me to introduce to you the single greatest and absolutely most powerful person in all of Magefall, a player that everyone knows by the player tag Rogue Dragon. This same person is also the single greatest enigma in the entire world of Magefall. Why do I say that? Well, according to legend, and I'm sure a fair amount of rumor as well, Rogue is nearly as old as Magefall itself. Yes, you heard me right. He's a player who has been in this game since just a few years after the platform launched. But how is that possible when humans still only live to, at best, the early 100s? Wouldn't his current age make him, at the very least, 213 years old? Yes, it would indeed. So, how is that possible? To be honest, nobody really knows. Some say he is a ghost in the machine, a player who died while logged into the game, whose soul then became trapped within the confines of Magefall. Others, however, say that he's a special NPC who was created shortly after the platform launched to act as a steering force to help move the wonderful world we all know and love in the direction that it's currently sailing today. Myself, I'm not certain I can believe either one of those, nor can most others. It is this mystery that makes Rogue the enigma within this world that he is. However, that being said, regardless of what, or who he truly is, Rogue is an amazing player who has the respect of nearly everyone. In fact, when I was a newer player, he regularly took me and my team under his wing and taught us so much about being better players, sometimes doing it the painful way and sometimes the friendly way. And to be honest, I'm glad he did both, as I learned a tremendous amount of things under his expert guiding leadership. And the best part of all this is that he was never angry with us, upset, short, or anything else. Not even once. Perhaps a bit frustrated at times, I'm sure, but that would be the most I've ever seen from him. In fact, he was so immeasurably patient with each and every one of us, even when we were being complete and hopeless idiots that, to this day, I can never thank him enough. Because of his outstanding example to us, I've sought diligently to emulate his style of kind leadership whenever I mentor other teams. In some ways, you could say that I'm a little chip off the old dragon. But enough of me. Since you're clearly new here and know very little of this world, please allow me to tell you some of the many exciting and wonderful tales of Magefall, her ups and downs, her laughs, her tears, her tender moments, her victories, her defeats, and so much more. So sit back, grab a beer, and prepare to be amazed by the many wonderful, sometimes humorous, and sometimes touching stories from the annals of Magefall history.